The air in the arena stank of ozone, fried protein, and the nervous sweat of 5,000 species that had no right to produce sweat in the first place. Light refracted in strange, oily ripples as gravity fluctuated on a whim, standard for the Galactic war games, which insisted on making combat as disorienting as possible for the sake of entertainment. Banners ride overhead in 8 languages. BT big, bleed bright, die beautifully. On the sand below, a Kravox champion slammed his 12 limbs into the ground, sending a shockwave through the bleachers. His carapace gleamed like burnished obsidian. His eyes, 3 large, 2 small, glimmered with malice. The crowd roared in approval, spewing bioluminescent spit and flapping membranes that pass her hands. "Presenting Drex Thalger," bellowed the announcer, a floating knot of tentacles with a speaker grafted to its central eye. Bloodborn of Kravox Prime, slayer of 27 challengers, a living storm in chitin and bone. The noise doubled, a thunder of claws and guttural hisses that made the arena floor tremble. Above, betting odds flickered on giant holoscreens. Drex at 1 minute and 0.1 second. Practically a sure thing. And then, in a much smaller font, a second name scrolled into view. Ellie Cade. The announcer said flatly, as though reading a grocery list. Species, human. Origin, soul, 3. Classification, organic, soft. Current standing, alive. A ripple of laughter swept through the spectators, cruel and indulgent. Ellie stepped onto the sand and felt the weight of their amusement. She was small, terribly small compared to the armored giants pacing the perimeter. No claws, no secondary hearts, no plasma glands. Just a woman in matte gray armor with a rifle slung casually over her shoulder and a visor shading her eyes. She paused at the edge of the combat zone, taking in the swirling banners, the alien stench, the grotesque murals depicting past champions crushing lesser species into paste. Somewhere in the stands, a floor rag vendor screamed, "Roasted human meat sticks." Fresh after round 1. More laughter. Ellie adjusted her gloves. Her heartbeat was steady. "They're taking bets on how many seconds you'll last," Oblivion champion hissed as he slithered past her. His voice was like wet stones sliding over metal. "Try not to ruin the sand with your fluids too soon." "Thanks for the tip," Ellie murmured without looking up. The Oblivion chittered and moved on. Above, the announcer's voice rolled like a drumbeat. "Competitors, prepare yourselves. The trial of precision begins in 60 seconds. Only one will emerge victorious. Or whole." Ellie stepped into her assigned zone. The floor shifted beneath her boots as the arena recalibrated its gravity field. She knelt unhurried and checked her rifle. Standard human issue, its dull sheen hiding subtle modifications. 1 round in the chamber. That was enough. Drex Thalger was roaring again, pumping his limbs to rile the crowd. He cracked a reinforced steel pillar with 1 mighty blow. Betting odds adjusted in real time. Ellie Cade, 700:1 against survival. She could feel thousands of alien eyes on her, some disgusted, most amused. A few, perhaps, curious. 7,000 eyes. 5,000 want me dead. The rest want a spectacle. She thought, fine, let's give them a show. The klaxon sounded, a deep, resonant hum that rattled teeth. Drex launched forward with terrifying speed, each footstep a mini-quake. Ellie stayed still. In the commentary box, the announcer muttered, "Well, this won't take long." Ellie raised her rifle. A soft click echoed in the hush that followed. And then silence. The laughter died in their throats as her visor caught the light, revealing a faint, cold smile. They were about to laugh louder, the narrator would later say. But that's when the Killshots began. The air in the prep chamber felt heavier than the arena sand, though Ellie suspected it wasn't the gravity setting. Sterile white walls hummed faintly with concealed machinery, the kind of noise designed to soothe lesser competitors. It didn't work on her. She sat alone on the bench, rifle across her knees, as the countdown timer blinked in an alien script she couldn't read. She didn't need to. She could feel time crawling on her skin. "Do you require a nerve stabilizer, human?" asked a metallic voice above her. A drone, no bigger than a dinner plate, hovered near her shoulder. its camera lens irised open with clinical precision. You are demonstrating signs of elevated stress, dilated pupils, elevated respiration, micro tremors in the fingers. I'm fine. Ellie's voice was flat, unbothered. Statistically, you are not. In 89 cycles of the War Games, no mammalian entrant in your weight class has survived more than 90 seconds against the Kravoks. Then I'll be a statistic too. She checked the sights on her rifle with delicate movements, brushing her thumb over the stock like a pianist testing ivory keys. The drone lingered, analyzing, searching for fear. Whatever it saw in her face must have frustrated it, because it beeped softly and zipped away. Ellie's visor reflected her faint smile. Good. Let them keep guessing. Beyond the prep chamber's glass wall, the Kravoks was visible in his own zone. Drex Thalger wasn't pacing. He didn't need to. His massive form was still, save for the subtle ripple of muscles under his armored plates. Watching him was like staring at a coiled seismic charge. One careless breath, and it might explode. Ellie noted the range between them. Not far enough. Never far enough. She remembered her first day on the transport to this backwater edge of the galaxy, when the Galactic liaison, a bird-like diplomat with too many teeth, had laughed as she signed her name to the tournament roster. Humans? Precision class? How quaint. You'll be spectacularly crushed, but don't worry. We've arranged a respectful funeral. And yet, here she was, alive in the final round. Not bad for a mammal, she thought dryly. The Kravoks bellowed something to his handlers in a guttural tongue that rattled the reinforced walls, probably bragging about the decorative use of her skull. His kind weren't known for subtlety. They were siege beasts, born in gravity wells that would liquefy human bones. They didn't aim, they annihilated. But annihilation had patterns. Even storms followed rules, if you knew where to look. Ellie's rifle wasn't designed for showy plasma arcs or sonic detonations. It was a relic by galactic standards, a kinetic rail weapon with hand-forged optics, small enough to cradle, but heavy enough to anchor her against recoil. The other competitors had mocked her the first time they saw it. Where's the antimatter coil? The neural sync? Oblivion had hissed. I left it at home. They hadn't laughed long. Above the prep zones, betting odds were still flickering on giant screens. The numbers almost comical now. Drex Thalger, 1, 0.05. Ellie Cade, 1, 850. The crowd adored the absurdity. They cheered as Drex smashed his clawed fist together, sending sparks flying. Vendors hawked snacks with slogans like, human-shaped gummies, bite back. Somewhere, drunken spectators started to chant, squish the mammal, squish the mammal. Ellie's lips curved slightly. She wasn't insulted. Not anymore. You're awfully calm for someone moments away from becoming paced. The voice was smooth, mocking. The Oblivion sniper had slithered into view, his translucent carapace pulsing faintly in the low light. He loomed behind the safety glass, separating prep zones. You know Drex has 4 brains, yes? Each one faster than your species' nervous system. Ellie didn't turn. Then I'll aim for the slowest one. The Oblivion hissed, more amused and angry. I almost want you to win. It would make the galaxy very interesting. That makes one of us, Ellie said, standing. The klaxon overhead began its deep, rolling hum. A final warning. Ellie moved to the gate, her boots whispering over the polished metal floor. She could feel Drex's stare through the barrier, heavy and burning. His mandibles twitched in what passed for a grin. The voice of the announcer thundered through the arena. Ladies, gentle creatures, ovipositors, and self-replicating colonies. You have seen titans fall and giants rise. Now the final match, Precision Strike Class. Drex Thalger, Kravoks Prime versus Ellie Cade of Wherever Humans Come From. Laughter rolled like distant thunder. Ellie rolled her shoulders and whispered under her breath, let's see how funny it is in 10 seconds. The gates hissed open, and she stepped into the sand. The moment the gates slammed shut behind her, the arena went still in that peculiar way only a bloodthirsty crowd can manage. Thousands of alien lungs held, thousands of alien hearts thrumming in anticipation. Drex Thalger loomed across the sand, a living siege engine, all plated muscle and glinting talons. The air shimmered around him from the heat of his body alone. He emitted a low, rumbling growl that made the sand vibrate beneath Ellie's boots. Little human. His voice boomed through the translator implants. I will crush you gently. It is tradition to honor prey before it is erased. Ellie didn't answer. The rifle was cool in her hands as she raised it to her shoulder. Her visor auto-calibrated to the flickering gravity fields, lines of data dancing across her display. Wind speed negligible. Surface friction unstable. Opponent's gait heavy, favoring right side. Drex flexes limbs, then launched forward. The crowd erupted in 1,000 different frequencies. Cheers, shrieks, howls. Ellie could see bets updating in real time on the hollow screens above, odds tightening in anticipation of a quick kill. She didn't move. The first swipe of his claw sliced the air where her head had been. She sidestepped, calm and precise, letting his momentum carry him past. Sand exploded under his feet, spraying high into the air. Fast for prey, Drex growled, pivoting. She stayed silent. Words were wasted oxygen. He charged again, this time weaving side to side, his mandibles clicking in a savage rhythm. Plasma bolts sparked from his secondary arms, searing through the shifting gravity waves. One grazed her shoulder, sizzling against her armor. She knelt low, rolled, brought the rifle up, and didn't fire. Not yet, she told herself. Drex grinned. Well, what passed for it in a creature born to slaughter? Your weapon is quaint. You will die before you pull the trigger. Maybe, Ellie said evenly, but you'll give me the opening. He roared, lunged, talons gleaming. She dropped prone, the motion fluid as breath. His bulk thundered past, missing her by inches. As he skidded to turn, Ellie watched the microfractures form in his chitin armor, where the plates met, barely noticeable unless you knew where to look. There, her breathing slowed. Time stretched. The crowd noise dimmed until all she heard was the steady beat of her own pulse. Drex was mid-pivot when she squeezed the trigger. The rifle hummed, a muted vibration that traveled through her bones. One shot. The round punched through Drex's secondary brainstem, clean, efficient. He froze. A strangled sound escaped his throat, part snarl, part confusion. His limbs twitched, then locked as his neural pathways overloaded. And then the beast collapsed in the sand, a cloud of dust billowing around him. For a long moment, no one made a sound. Ellie stood, lowering her rifle with slow precision. Her visor reflected the stunned faces of thousands of spectators. Then the silence shattered. Shrieks of disbelief, howls of outrage, frenzied arguing in alien tongues. On the giant screens above, Drex's body was already being replayed from 20 different angles. The betting markets imploded in a cascade of flashing red numbers. Ellie glanced upward briefly, her voice cutting through the chaos. Next. The crowd's roar redoubled, not jeering this time, but wild, uncontrolled. In the commentary booth, the announcer's voice cracked as he scrambled for words. You unbelievable. The human, has taken down Drex Thalgr with a single shot. Ellie turned her back on the corpse, walking steadily toward the exit gates as the arena spun into pandemonium. Humans, she muttered under her breath. We aim small, and the gates closed behind her. The arena was still vibrating long after Ellie walked out. Somewhere behind the sealed gates, Drex's carcass was being dragged away under a sterile blue light, while drones scrubbed his ichor from sand. In the upper tiers, chaos bloomed like mold in a damp cellar. Bookmakers screamed into comms as the galactic betting market spiraled into collapse. Wagers worth entire moons were atomized in seconds. Spectators bellowed and hissed, some demanding a rematch, others howling that the mammal must have cheated. One Kravox dignitary launched itself at Oblivion diplomat in rage, only to be intercepted midair by 6 security bots. She can't have done that, muttered a Florag ambassador, its tentacles writhing nervously. A human? Precision class? Impossible. Apparently not, the human ambassador said mildly, swirling the strange purple drink they'd been handed upon arrival. Their tailored uniform was pristine, their smirk delicate. We did warn you mammals can be persistent. The Oblivion delegation hissed, in unison. Persistent is one thing. Killing Drex Thalgor with one shot is unclean. And yet, the ambassador murmured, it's very tidy from where I'm sitting. In the combatant's corridor, Ellie stripped off her gloves with deliberate care. Her hands didn't shake. She could still feel the echo of the shot humming in her bones. A drone drifted cautiously into view. Combatant Cade, you are required to report for... No. Protocol mandates a post-victory analysis. Tell Protocol to file a complaint. Ellie slung the rifle over her shoulder and kept walking. Behind her, the drone's processor word, caught between outrage and confusion. It didn't follow. Messages were already pinging across her visor display. Offers from weapons manufacturers. Interviews requested by Galactic networks. Invitations to serve as an honorary general for 4 different species. She deleted them all. The transport hangar was eerily quiet, a stark contrast to the chaos she'd left behind. Ellie strode across the polished floor, boots echoing like heartbeats. A lone technician, a pale, jittery Lorm, watched her pass with something that might have been awe or fear. You killed Drex, it said faintly. I did, Ellie replied. They say the odds were impossible. They were. She paused at the ramp to her small, unmarked ship and glanced back at the creature. That's why no one checked if I'd noticed patterns faster than he did. The Lorm blinked, its 3 eyelids clicking shut in rapid succession. Where will you go now? Ellie didn't answer. The ship's hatch hissed open, warm light spilling across her tired face. She climbed aboard without looking back. In the arena above, the announcer's voice was still trying to claw its way toward composure. A historic upset. The Galactic Council will... Well, they'll have to... Ellie's ship engines purred to life, drowning him out. As the vessel lifted, the visor display blinked with a final incoming transmission. No sender ID. Just 3 words. Assignment accepted. Coordinates incoming. Ellie leaned back in her chair, expression unreadable. Galaxies are big, she murmured to herself. And humans? We aim small. Her ship vanished into the void, leaving the stars argue in her wake.